This is Celtics Today. I am Will Scott, breaking down the latest Boston Celtics news and rumors. But before we get into today's show, we have some trivia on today's show. We're going to reveal the answer at the end of the show. Here is the question. Who is the Celtics' all-time leader in games played? Interesting question here on trivia, brought to you by Celtics Today. Stay tuned at the end of the video for the answer to that trivia question. Let's get into our first story. That is Jayson Tatum working out with Kevin Durant in LA. Multiple Instagram photos emerging yesterday, including this one. So we can't confirm that JT was working out with KD in LA. There's also this photo as well. So, of course, NBA Twitter's going wild, as, of course, this comes in the middle of all the Kevin Durant to Boston trade rumors. What is your one-word reaction to this? I saw some mixed reactions on Celtics Twitter yesterday. Go down. Let me know what your reaction is to Jayson Tatum working out with Kevin Durant in Los Angeles yesterday. My one word is interesting. And look, I understand that it's very normal for NBA players to work out together in the offseason. And Jayson Tatum and Kevin Durant are good friends. So I think that on one hand, we shouldn't overreact to this, but comes in the middle of all these rumors, which makes this interesting. And because of that, some Celtics fans did not like this. I saw on Twitter yesterday, some people were like, man, Jaylen Brown is probably pretty upset about this. JT's not sending the right message working out with Kevin Durant. But again, maybe not overreact. Maybe we shouldn't overreact because it's very normal for NBA players to work out, especially in LA, during the middle of the offseason. It is worth noting that DeMar DeRozan of the Chicago Bulls was also there. So it wasn't just KD and Tatum. There were other people there, including DeMar DeRozan. Now, Tatum was asked about the Kevin Durant trade rumors a couple weeks ago. Here is what he said. He was asked at a movie premiere, what do you think about the possibility of Kevin Durant coming to Boston? Here is what he said. I played with Durant during the Olympics. Obviously, he's a great player, but that's not my decision. I love our team. I love the guys that we got. We got two new pieces in Malcolm Brogdon and Danilo Gallinari. I love our team. I just go out there and play with my teammates. I don't put that general manager hat on and make decisions. So pretty good response there from Tatum, saying all the right things when asked about the Durant trade rumors. But I feel like Durant would embrace the opportunity to play with Kevin Durant. I don't think Tatum cares all that much about being the number one. Obviously, some people are going to say, well, if Durant comes to Boston, he would be playing second fiddle. Tatum might not enjoy that. I don't think that's accurate. I think Tatum and KD are very, very close. That's just, what we've been hearing. So I think Tatum would embrace the opportunity to play with Kevin Durant, and Tatum being in the position that he's in, kind of being the leader of the Celtics team. He could go to Brad Stevens and be like, no, I like the group we have. I have no interest in trading for Durant. But if Brad Stevens were to ask Tatum, hey, we're on the verge of getting KD, what are your thoughts? I don't think Tatum would shut that down. Now, be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because we're giving you Celtics news, Celtics rumors, signings, and more. If the Celtics make a move, we will be the first Celtics YouTube channel that gets you guys a video. I can promise you that. Regardless if I'm in studio or not, we're still going to get you guys a vid. Go down, subscribe to the channel, youtube.com/CelticsTV. Speaking of Tatum, we're giving you this great deal on a Jayson Tatum jersey. You can go pick it up at chatsports.com/Tatum. On sale for a limited time. Go and take advantage. That link going to be in the comments and the description of this video. Let's get into this next one, because Sam Amick of The Athletic said that Boston is the unofficial front runner for Kevin Durant. He released an article in The Athletic. Here is what he said. Among the executives with whom I spoke, a Boston deal with Jaylen Brown as the centerpiece appears to be the unofficial frontrunner here. In general terms, sources say the Nets are using the fact that the Celtics and perhaps other teams have made their second-best player available as a baseline of sorts in negotiations. So this is not a surprise. We know that the Celtics are probably the front runner right now to get KD. Amick of The Athletic saying the unofficial front runner, but it does appear that momentum is pointing toward the Celtics, that the C's have more momentum in terms of a KD trade than any other team in the league. Here is what he also said about the Kevin Durant trade. if you're still trying to discuss a Durant deal without putting your second best talent on the table, then you're just wasting everyone's time and bow out of this race. So we wait for a deal to come together, just like we have all those times before. Truth be told, no one should be surprised it's taking this long, and he does mention other times before. Here are some other instances where superstars have asked out and how long it's taken for a trade to actually go down. Carmelo Anthony in 2010 wanted out of Denver. 6 months later, after his trade request, he was finally traded to the New York Knicks. A similar wait for Paul George. He requested a trade from Indiana. He was traded to OKC 4 months later. Kyrie Irving, I know, I'm sorry to remind all of you that Kyrie Irving was on the Boston Celtics, but his trade request took about a month. He wanted out of Cleveland. He went to the GM and owner there, wanted out of Cleveland. He gets traded to the Celtics a month later. And then Jimmy Butler, it feels like a lot longer than 6 weeks. He caused a lot of drama over there in Minnesota, but after 6 weeks, he was traded to Philadelphia. Some more recent instances. Anthony Davis, 4.5 months after he made it clear that he wanted out of New Orleans, did he finally get traded to the Los Angeles Lakers. James Harden even played in games for Houston 2 months after his trade request. I think he played 8 games for Houston that season. Then he had that crazy press conference where he's like, I can't do this anymore. And then the Rockets traded him to Brooklyn the next day. Ben Simmons, 5.5 months after his trade request, he was finally traded to the Brooklyn Nets. Amick said this as well. While there are examples on both ends of the timeline spectrum, the average length of time with these examples is 88.4 days. As it stands, Durant is 6 weeks in to this latest star saga among this group. Anthony's situation, 6 months, took the longest to resolve, following by Ben Simmons, which took 5.5 months. Now, let me ask you all this. Do you think a Kevin Durant trade is going to happen before training camp? The first day of Nets training camp, media day, is September 26th. Is it going to happen before or after? Type B for before or type A for after. It is the pinned comment on today's video. When ad break comes, go down, chime in. It's going to be wild if Kevin Durant shows up at media day on September 26th and a trade still hasn't gone down. I feel like it's going to happen before training camp, maybe even right before training camp because, granted, the Nets are not in a rush to trade KD, but I don't know if they would go to a point where they just let KD get to the season where they still haven't traded him. And I feel like teams that are interested in trading for KD are going to want to get a deal done before the start of the season. I feel like it's going to happen before. It might happen right before training camp, but I do believe a trade is going to happen here in the next 6 weeks before training camp. So I have ranked the most likely Kevin Durant trade destinations. Don't unsubscribe. Don't hate me, Celtics fans. But I feel like a Boston Celtics trade is the most likely. The 76ers, though, have gained some ground in terms of a trade. There's been some momentum. They can offer Tyrese Maxey. They can offer Matisse Thybulle, maybe Tobias Harris. There is some momentum on that front as well. And then the Toronto Raptors. They would have to give up Scotty Barnes. Apparently, they're not willing to do that, but they can put together a pretty decent package, as well as the Pelicans. Now, the Pelicans apparently made it clear that they don't want to trade Brandon Ingram. But if I'm the Pelicans, I would do that trade because you're an instant contender with KD. And then the Miami Heat were once the favorites for KD. They have kind of fallen toward the back of this race, but they're probably still in it. Let's get into some NBA schedule leaks now because the schedule is going to be released tomorrow. We're seeing some leaks leading up to that much-anticipated schedule release. We're going to get you guys a video tomorrow, by the way, about that. Charania said this. Sources. NBA's 2022-2023 opening night, October 18th on TNT, 76ers at Celtics, and as previously reported, Lakers at Warriors. So the Celtics will have the first game of the NBA season, and at 7 o'clock Eastern time slot on TNT, they will play host to the Philadelphia 76ers. That's going to be a lot of fun. We also have this. Shams said, Golden State, Boston, NBA Finals rematch dates for the 2022-2023 season per sources. December 18th in Golden State, January 19th in Boston. So those are the two finals rematches. Mark your calendar. You are not going to want to miss those games. So here's what we know. 4 leaks in terms of the schedule. October 18th, opening night against the Philadelphia 76ers. The Boston Celtics will be in the first NBA game of this season. The first finals rematch, December 10th on, I don't know what channel it's on, but it's in the Bay Area. December 25th, Christmas against the Bucks. And then January 19th, the finals rematch in Boston against Golden State. What game are you most excited about amongst the ones that have been leaked? Go down, chime in. A couple of exciting matchups that we're breaking down here. For me, it's opening night. I feel like that's going to be an unbelievable atmosphere. And yes, the Celtics did lose in the NBA Finals, but I feel like the enthusiasm surrounding the Celtics fan base now is higher than it's been in a very, very long time. The Celtics will be the NBA favorites. There's the favorites to win the NBA title going into next season. I feel like TD Garden is going to be really rocking for opening night against the Sixers. Should be a pretty good game. The Sixers are expected, obviously, to be a pretty solid team as well. But that Warriors game at home is going to be wild as well in January. And I feel like if you're in Boston, do whatever you can to get to that game. I wish I could be there, man. Chat Sports Studios are in Dallas. But that game is going to be a lot of fun to watch. And I feel like that atmosphere in Boston is going to be pretty unbeatable. Now let's get into our trivia reveal. I asked you, who is the Celtics' all-time leader in games played? You got a couple more seconds, so think hard. Celtics' all-time leader in games played. It is this guy. John Havlicek is the Celtics' all-time leader in games played with over 1,200 games played. 1,270 to be exact, 1,270 games played across 16 seasons in Boston. He played for the Seas from 1962 to 1978. NBA Hall of Famer, was inducted in 1984, 8-time champion with the Boston Celtics, was named to the NBA 75th anniversary team. Very well reserved for John Havlicek. Appreciate you all watching this edition of Celtics Today. Again, stay tuned for a schedule video that we're bringing you guys tomorrow.